one of Susan B.'s famous speeches. Another one of the boards that we put together is about Susan B. Anthony, and because it is the 100-year anniversary of the women's right to vote, we have these boards placed in all of the polling locations. In November, we're going to have it again this year, so that everybody can remember if a woman was voting at one of our districts. We've got 7 polling locations, 19 districts in the town of Halfmoon. If a woman was voting, you have Susan B. Anthony to thank. Some of her quips and some of her quotes were just fascinating. Some of the things that she came up with. Let me just read a couple of them off to you. And you can see that right on your page also. And the best one will be when Terry comes up to speak. If you are a woman and you are voting today, you have Susan to thank. Every girl who now enjoys a college education, every woman who has a chance of earning an honest living in whatever sphere she chooses, every wife who is protected by law in the possession of her person and property, and every mother who is blessed with control of her own children, owes those sacred privileges to Susan above all others. I think that a girl who is able to earn her own living and pay her own way should be as happy as anybody on earth. The sense of independence and security is very sweet. Forget what the world thinks of you stepping out of your place. Think your best thoughts, speak your best words, looking to your own conscience for approval. I declare to you that women must not depend upon the protection of man, but must be taught to protect yourself, and there I take my stand. I have encountered riotous mobs and have been hung in effigy. But my motto is, men's rights are nothing more, and women's rights are nothing less. One thing that Terry's going to be speaking about is when Susan B. Anthony went to vote. Back in the day, it was a paper vote, not electronic, so people did not know who actually voted until they opened up all those little pieces of paper. So she went and voted for Ulysses S. Grant. And it wasn't until like 3 weeks later that she was arrested when they found out and they opened up the paper ballots that she had actually voted. They fined her $100 and she said, I will not pay a penny of that. She could not defend herself because she was the wrong sex, but however, she never did pay a penny and she got herself out of it somehow or other. So right now I'm going to ask Terry Gifford to come forward, Susan B. Anthony, and what I want you to do as she is coming forward is to imagine the late 1870s. The 15th Amendment to the Constitution was passed in 1870, granting African American men the right to vote, yet women were still not allowed to cast a ballot. Susan B. Anthony voted anyway in the 1872 election. She was fined $100, but then spent the rest of her life speaking for women's rights. She died in 1906, never seeing Congress pass the 19th Amendment in 1920. She also never paid the fine, delivering her famous suffrage speech. And now with us, I'd like to please welcome Susan B. Anthony. Thank you for being with us tonight.
My pleasure. Friends and fellow citizens, I stand before you tonight under indictment for the alleged crime of having voted at the last presidential election without the lawful right to vote. It shall be my work this evening to prove to you that in thus voting, I not only committed no crime, but instead simply exercised my citizens' rights, guaranteed to me and all United States citizens beyond the power of any state to deny. The preamble of the federal Constitution says, we the people, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, and promote general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty for ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. It was we, the people, not we, the white male citizens, nor yet we, the male citizens, who formed the Union, but we, the whole people. And we formed it not for the half of ourselves or the half of our posterity, but for the whole people, women as well as men. And it is a downright mockery to talk to women of their enjoyment of the blessings of liberty while they are denied the use of the only means of securing them in this democratic Republican government, the ballot. For any state to make sex a qualification that must ever result in the disenfranchisement of one entire half of the people is to pass a bill of attainder or an ex post facto law, and is therefore a violation of the supreme law of the land. By it, the blessings of liberty are forever withheld from women and their posterity. To them, this government has no just powers derived from the consent of the governed. To them, this government is not a democracy. It is not a republic. It is an odious aristocracy, a hateful oligarchy of sex, the most hateful aristocracy ever established on the face of the globe. An oligarchy of wealth where the right govern the poor, an oligarchy of learning where the educated govern the ignorant, or even an oligarchy of race where the Saxon rules the African might be endured, but this oligarchy of sex, which makes father, brothers, husband, sons, the oligarchs over the mother and sisters, the wife and daughters of every household, which ordains all men sovereigns and all women subjects, carries dissension, discord, and rebellion into every home in the nation. Webster, Worcester, and Bouvier all define a citizen as a person in the United States entitled to vote and hold office. The only question left to be settled now is, are women persons? And I hardly believe that any of our opponents would have the hardihood to say they are not. Being persons, then, women are citizens, and no state can make any law or enforce any old law that shall abridge their privileges or immunities. Hence, every discrimination against women in the constitutions or laws of any of the several states is today null and void, as is every one against Negroes.
Thank you very much. Stick around and speak with us.
I certainly will. I'd love to.
Well, I do invite everybody to take a look at the boards that we have here. Some of the things that we have also, like for the baking powder, this was on one of the cars, on the railroad cars. That they had a baking powder there. Now, I don't know if it was put on there in case it was going to explode or something, if anybody did hit it with a gun or something like that, but I thought that was very interesting. This is the original one right from one of the cars. And just getting some of the history of the executor sales and some of the background of both these folks, I can only imagine when they did go to visit each other, what kind of a spirited conversations they must have had. I know it. When I first saw it, I thought maybe something was not right. You know what I mean? So I need to explain that whole board, but it's kind of smushed them together, but you really I love the executive sale of all the things, fat pigs and 48 calls, and chicken. So if you are going up West County, you got the college clubs